and we're back. We are here today to discuss 19.2. Honestly, 19.2 is 16.2. If it's easy, or if it's somewhat easy for you to make it into the third, or the fourth, or the fifth round, essentially you're an elite or upper level athlete, then this workout is no different. The only difference is CrossFit is being a little more inclusive, and instead of people getting time capped at 4 minutes, now you're guaranteed at least 8 minutes of work. That's an 8 minutes of, well, not really. You're guaranteed at least 8 minutes of work, so they're allowing you to get more of a workout in. Really, that's all it really comes down to. So 19.2 is 16.2. So first of all, we could talk about what 19.2 is, but that'd be kind of a waste of time, and honestly, you're really only here for a specific reason. You guys should already know what 19.2 is. If you're like me, you've literally dreamed about 19.2 from Thursday night and Friday night, and pretty much you daydream about it. So you should already know what the workout is. It's obviously toes to bar and double unders and squat cleans. We're gonna, instead of explain the workout, because like I mentioned, you should already know what it is. We're gonna get into my discussion for each movement. We're gonna go toes to bar first, then double unders, then squat cleans. So we're gonna talk about kind of the micro portion of it first, okay? Each movement, what I thought about each movement, how I would change it, yada, yada, yada. And then we'll get into the macro view and we'll talk about my paces for the whole workout, what I would change if I did it again, and so on. First up, we've got toes to bar, which I think are super important in this workout. So let's get started. From my perspective, there are really two different types of ways to do toes to bar, right? You know, obviously pull-ups, you can do strict pull-ups and keeping pull-ups and gymnastics pull-ups, butterfly pull-ups. But from a toes to bar perspective, I think you really have two ways of doing it. Two different types of toes to bars. And I think it's important as the listener, as a watcher right now, to be able to do both of them at any given time in a workout. Maybe not necessarily in this workout, but in any specific other workout. So for instance, like if I told you, hey, we're gonna do 30 toes to bar for time, you would attack toes to bar a different way than if I told you, hey, we're gonna do 100 toes to bar for time, right? Because in the 30, you might possibly be able to go unbroken and you want a faster turnover speed. But in the 100, you're now thinking about saving your grip, saving your core, saving your hip flexors, so you might have a slower turnover time, but you're trying to save those parts of your body, right? So, I wanna jump into a quick video clip of, the first thing we're gonna talk about is a shorter kip with a faster turnover rate. I would use that necessarily when it, like I talked about, when I'm doing 30 toes to bar for time, okay? That's not necessarily a toes to bar that I would use in this workout, since we're doing, you know, upwards of 125 toes to bar, or maybe a little bit less. And because you're gonna spend so much time there, I wouldn't focus on doing that fast. But really, if your goal is literally just to finish the 8 minutes and maybe get into 12, or you know, you're barely gonna make it past the 8 minutes, or you're barely gonna make it into the 12, then you might have to do that, because you might need to make up a lot of time on the bar. So bear that in mind, or really when it comes to toes to bar, you need to think about what your goal is. Is your goal to make it past the 8, make it into the 12? And so you need to ask yourself what your goal is, and that'll really choose your toes to bar for you. The second way of doing toes to bar, like I mentioned, is if I was doing like 100 reps for time, is a elongated kip, a longer kip with a slower reset time, but from my perspective, it really saves your grip and it really saves your core. And that's the toes to bar movement, that's the toes to bar concept that I used for this workout, because I had to do 125 toes to bar. So, you know, I'm not gonna be knocking them out as fast as I can, because I'll just burn up and die. So that's the discussion of the two different types of toes to bar. And really, toes to bar is really fundamental in this workout, because it really is the main piece that'll affect your heart rate, I think. First of all, it's the first movement, right? 25 toes to bar. And so the clock might go 3, 2, 1, go. And you might jump on that bar and just be like, I'm cranking out 25 unbroken toes to bar. I don't care. I'm a boss because I need all that time in the world. And you might need all that time. But if you really don't need it, I would recommend you keep your heart rate as low as you possibly can, or at least lower than normal in a workout, and break the toes to bar early and break them often. It might come as a surprise to you, but I didn't do a single set of toes to bar, the 25 toes to bar, unbroken. Now, in years past, in 2016 when I did it, I think I did 4 of the 5 sets unbroken. And then I've retested this workout probably 2 or 3 times since then, and every time I've at least done 3 to 4 sets unbroken of toes to bar, thinking, oh, I can really save myself a lot of time. And you really can. And really that becomes important later, but you gotta ask yourself, how much time are you saving? And is it worth it compared to how high your heart rate is? And how does that affect your cleans? And so it's kind of a give and take, like, do I wanna do 25 unbroken toes to bar? Yes. Will my heart rate spike? Yes. Will it affect my cleans? Yes. Then probably don't do them unbroken. That's just my thoughts. I'm gonna actually go into my actual reps and what I did for my reps in the pacing portion of this. We're just gonna go through the macro view of every movement. And so the next movement we're gonna do is double unders. Double unders. I'm gonna be really honest with you. This workout has nothing to do with double unders. Unless, of course, you can't do them and you really struggle with them, then you need to focus on practicing on your free time and your spare time. But it's 50 double unders per round. You're literally doing 250 double unders at the end if you finish it. Compared to 125 toes a bar, 250 double unders is nothing. Do them unbroken. You might fall into the trap of trying to go as fast as you can, your 50 double unders. I highly not recommend that. I recommend slow and steady. It's a good portion of the workout to take your time and breathe. I mean, you gotta think about it. If you think about it in a positive light and think to yourself, man, this is 30 seconds of rest I get in the workout, it'll help you, right? Because it's 30 seconds of all you're doing is just going like this. So take that time to really calm your mind, try to lower your heart rate, and think about the next portion, which is obviously cleans. And honestly, that's really it. Treat it as a rest portion, go unbroken, and if you break, a lot of people, when they break their double unders and they mess up or they trip, they get in this oh crap, I missed my double unders, I'm wasting so much time. But really, if you mess up and trip and you put your rope back over and then you start jumping again, you might waste 2 seconds. Now, unless you're tripping 10 times every 50 double unders, then yeah, it might be a lot of time. But you really can't let that change your mindset. You can't let that negativity get in the middle of workout. Oh crap, I missed double unders. I suck. I should just start over. Just put your rope over, start jumping again, just like Dory says, keep swimming like the fish. And that's, honestly, that's really it. There's nothing to talk about double unders. Let's move on to the important part of the workout. The cleans. The cleans. I know it might be light in the beginning, 135 for males, that's pretty light. And you might be tempted to be oh, I'm gonna go touch and go. Don't go touch and go. It's not worth your time. You're gonna spike your heart rate. If you do singles and drop it, you don't have to ride the bar down. Just let gravity do that job for you, right? Just let it do its thing, okay? Do singles. Singles in the whole workout. And secondly, don't shorten your pull, okay? I know 135 is light, and honestly, maybe 185 is really light for you too. But don't feel like you need to shorten your pull. What I mean by that is, don't shorten your pull like you're going into a thruster, trying to drop under it really fast without getting your full pull, because what's gonna happen is, you're gonna shorten your pull for 135. And it might be fine, because it's 135, you can get away with it. And then maybe you might, for 185, you may not shorten the full thing, but it'll be a little bit shorter than normal. And then once you get to 225, your body might be so used to shortening the pull somewhat that you don't get your full pull. And then by the time you get to 275 or 315, you're failing reps because your body's oh, I'm just gonna drop underneath it really fast. Oh, I'm just gonna drop underneath, I'm not gonna get my full pull. So what I'm saying is, don't shorten your pull here because it might save you a quarter to a half a second per rep. It's not worth it in the long run. Now, if you're only making it 8 minutes long, right? If you're only making it to here, maybe you should shorten your pull, but then my real question is, this is probably pretty heavy for you. So you should automatically not shorten your pull because you should be focusing on good reps if you're going for 8 minutes because this is probably pretty heavy for you. Note to self, don't shorten your pull. It's not worth the time here and the disadvantage it gives you later. Next up, a belt. When should you use a belt? Personally, what I did is the first time I used my belt was on 315, okay? That's my personal opinion. Let me tell you the reasons behind it. When I put on a belt, I feel like I can lift more, right? I don't know if you actually can, you know, or if it's just something in your mind like a placebo. Okay, I'm not gonna get into that discussion. But when I put on a belt, I feel like I can lift more. So my goal in a Metcon, and also when I lift, if you guys watch me, is to save my belt for as long as I possibly can. Because then when I'm near the end, okay, when I end range, when I'm like, I can't lift this, I put the belt on, I'm like, now I can lift this, right? So it might be a placebo. I don't know, okay? I'm not sure if it actually helps or not. But there's something that switches over in your mind that says, okay, I put a belt on, I can lift more now. And so my goal for this workout was to save my belt for 315 or my final bar. That way I'm like, okay, yes, 275 felt heavy when I lifted it, but now I'm putting a belt on. So I'm gonna crush 315 because I have a belt on now. So my recommendation, and take it or leave it, is save your belt for your final bar or your final and your second final at the bar. It just depends on how badly you need a belt, right? So if your final bar, if you know, I'm not gonna make it on a 275, maybe save your belt for just the 275, that way you get that added confidence, right? I personally don't think leaving the belt on for the full workout is a good idea. Reasons for that, I think if you have it on from the very beginning, you get used to it being there. And so your body, you might put your body or your back in a position that you wouldn't have had you had the belt off. So you put yourself in a bad position knowing that belt is there to help you. If you do that in the beginning, what's gonna happen when the bar gets heavier? You're gonna be even more so put yourself in a bad position, even more so put yourself in a bad position. And then by the end of the workout, or when you get to your final bar, whatever that bar is, you might be in a terrible position. So that's just my perspective. Take it or leave it. I always try to save my belt for as long as I possibly can. And then when I know I can't hit it, or I know it's my final bar or my final lift, I'm putting it on. Because that, to me, that's a mental switch over. Maybe it's psychological, that's fine, but I switch over and I say, I can hit this now because I have that added strength and durability around my core. So that's the belt. Next up is a shirt, okay? This is mostly for the guys. This is mostly for the guys, but you know, I'm sure if you're a female wearing a sports bra and you don't have a whole lot around here, this might help you also. And you might think, a shirt, wow, cool, Jacob, great piece of advice. I thought it was. So, for my rounds of 135, what's next? 185, 225, and 275, okay? I did not wear a shirt, okay, for any of it, right? You know, what's the reason behind that? I don't want to get hot, you know, I want to let the sweat get off my body. I feel like if I keep a shirt on, it's a little extra weight, you know, whatever the case may be. I didn't wear a shirt, okay? Now, I finally put a shirt on for my 315. Why is that? Because when I put that shirt on, first of all, it's gonna be dry, right? So putting a dry shirt on. I put a dry shirt on, I'm able to chalk right here, and probably the chalk doesn't help that much. But what it does help is when I catch that bar in my front rack in the receiving position, I feel like that shirt helps a little bit, that bar sticking to my body, compared to just the sweaty clavicle, right? So the bar will stick to my body instead of just sliding off had I been sweaty. Now, you could also wear a shirt for the whole workout and then just change it here. That's honestly what Jake did. Jake Flowen, who did the workout after me, he had a shirt on for all the way through 275, and by the time he got done with 275 and he was doing his toes bar on 315, it was super wet and super sweaty. So yes, having a sweaty shirt is still fine, but I think a dry shirt really helps out in catching that bar. Now, you have to ask yourself, do you have that much time? You know, how much time are you wasting by taking a shirt off and putting it on? Is it worth it? I don't know. I'm just giving you what I thought related to it. I didn't wear a shirt and then I put it on the end, and you might think this is a stupid piece of advice, but for me, I really felt like it helped. It also gave me a little resting time, right? I had to put a shirt on, and so I had to rest a little bit, and that's nice before you have to pick up 315 because that's a huge jump in the final bar. So that's what I did. You might think it's stupid, and it might be stupid. For me, it helped. I thought it helped. And yeah, that's the shirt idea. I know, it's groundbreaking, just completely groundbreaking. Next up is the money round. No, this isn't Jeopardy and the Daily Double. This is the money round. So what is the money round? From my perspective, the money round, and what I mean by money is, to me, the most important round is the second to last round, okay, that you're going to accomplish. So if you know you're not going to make it past the fourth round, it would be the third round. From me, the money round was the fourth round, which is the 275 round. Now, why is that important? Okay, why is 275 the money round? From my perspective, if you can hit the last bar, okay, so if you can't hit 315 and you need a lot of rest to hit and you're just like, your goal is to get one, then that's your important round, right? But if you know you can hit the final bar you're going for, whatever round that is, if you know you can hit it physically, then the most important round, in my perspective, is the round before it. Why is that? The reason for that is because, first of all, you're not focusing on it. You're only focused on the final round. And I think you should focus on the round before it, because that round before it is the round you could make or break the amount of time you have in the last round. If you spend forever on 275, forever do 275, then you'll waste a lot of the time you should have for the final bar. And that's time you need to rest, chalk, put a belt on, pull your knee sleeves up, possibly change your shirt. And you need that time for the final bar. But if you waste it in the round before, then you won't have the ability to do it. So this to me is the money round. This is the most important round where you should really kind of push, because then you can rest a little bit before you hit the final bar. The thing is, if your goal is to get to the final bar, the fifth round, the second to last bar is still heavy, okay? It's still a heavy bar, but you're so focused on the final bar, you don't think about the bar before it, and the fact is that bar is still heavy, and you could waste a lot of time sitting there, walking around the bar, fixing the clamps, chalking up. Don't waste. My advice to you is don't waste a lot of time on this bar. Really push through this bar. Because if you push through this bar as hard as you can, you'll save yourself a crud ton of time in the final bar, and that could make or break whether you finish it, or you get one rep, or maybe you get that extra rep you didn't think you could get. And that's important, because in this workout, when you get to the final bar, one more rep is a lot of placements. And so that's important to be able to get that final rep, because that's gonna be a lot of spots on the leaderboard. So that's my advice, is the money round. Don't always focus on the last bar. In my perspective, the second to last bar is just as important, if not more important, because this could make or break how much time you have in the final bar. Of course, like I mentioned, that's assuming you can hit that final bar weight. So that is the money round. All right, guys, so what we've done is we've talked about toes bar. We've talked about double unders. We've talked about cleans. So now I want to get into my actual paces and my actual numbers. We can talk about why I wrote it the way I did. Did I stick to it? What would I change if I did it again? This is the meat and bones. This is the reason you guys probably came to watch. Okay? So, I've got it broken up. Black's the actual workout, right? So we've got 25 toes bar, 50 double unders, 15 squat cleans. Okay? This is round 1, round 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay? The blue represents the time duration for that specific movement, okay? So essentially I said 25 toes bar for this whole workout should always take me 1 minute. 1 minute here, 1 minute here, here, and here. It shouldn't take me any less time here, and I shouldn't be any quicker here, okay? That was my goal. Double unders, I should be able to do double unders in 40 seconds every single round, okay? I didn't change that either. And then of course, for my cleans, I said, okay, I can do 15 cleans in 1 minute, 15 seconds. I'll do my 13 cleans at 185 and 120. I'll do my 11 at 150. I'll do my 9 in 305. And at the end, I'll have 4 minutes approximately to do my 7 cleans at 315, okay? So these are the paces I went into for this workout. So let's actually write up the round times itself, right? So my goal was to be done with round 1 at 2:45, okay? Round 2, my goal was to be done at 5:45. Round 3, my time to be done was at 9:15. 4 was at 14 flat, okay? And then of course, round 5 was just go ham. Okay, we'll write that down. Go ham, okay? So, what was the actual round times? Well, of course, this round itself takes me 2 minutes and 45 seconds, right? This round itself, round 2, took me 3 minutes. Round 3 took me 3 minutes and 30 seconds, okay? Round 4 would take me 4 minutes and 45 seconds. And then round 5, of course, like we mentioned, is just who cares, okay? So this is the cumulative time in the workout, and these are the round times itself in the quantity signs, okay? The round time, so, you know, if you add the blue up, it'll equal this red up here in the quantity symbol, okay? So let's talk about how I broke up each movement and why I picked these numbers I picked, okay? So, for the toes to bar, the first movement, I broke up my first, second, third, and fourth round. Like I mentioned, I didn't do any round unbroken. All my toes to bar are done in 15 and 10, okay? Reason for that is when I break a movement up, so if you give me an even number, I guess 25 is not an even number, but you get the point. If you give me a number and I have to break it up into 2 sets, okay? 1 set, 2 set, I'm gonna make sure that my first set is better than my second set, because there's a mental thing, I think, if you drop off the bar at 10, toes the bar, and you got 15 more. Well, in your mind, you're thinking, I'm not gonna do, I just did 10, how can I now do 15? Because it's more than my first set. So from my perspective, I'm gonna do 15 because when I drop off, I'm like, oh, I only have 10 left. I already did 15, so I can easily do 10, okay? So I do 10. On average, that honestly took me about 50 to 55 to 1 minute to do that, okay? I'm not going fast. And like I mentioned in our previous discussion, I'm not doing a super short kip with a fast turnover rate. Instead, I'm doing a longer kip with a slower turnover rate, but it's allowing me to save my core, save my hip flexors, and save my grip because I can readjust at the top if I need to. Okay, so that's toes bar, 15 and 10. I did 15 and 10 for my first, second, third, and fourth set. For my 5th set, I'm not proud of this, guys, okay? Don't judge me, this is a judgment-free zone. For my 5th and final set, I did 15, I think I did 15, 7, and 3. Okay? Yeah, 3. I don't know. It wasn't, I didn't like fall off. I didn't hit nothing. I just got to 7 and I was like, okay, I'm at 22. Like, I'm cool. I'm gonna drop off the bar. I don't really have a reason for that. I think honestly, I came off the bar at 7 because I thought I could use a little extra time before I get to the double under to lower my heart rate and then get to 315. I have a lot of time, so I'm gonna chill out for a second because I don't wanna like go all crazy getting excited for 315. Or maybe I just fell off the bar and I was kind of wimpy. Whatever, you guys judge as what you might. That was my rep scheme for the toes to the bar. Okay, double unders, 40 seconds per double unders. You might be thinking to yourself, Jacob, double unders, you can do 30 double unders, I'm sorry, you can do 50 double unders in like 27 seconds. And that's true. I can do 50 double unders in 27 seconds, 28 seconds, like on the dot, every time. But I factored in the transitional period to get from the toes to the bar to the rope and then drop the rope and maybe touch the bar for the first rep, right? So I added an extra 10 to 12 seconds, right? So right here, I added an extra 10 to 12 seconds. Wow, I cannot write. That way, I essentially treated that as transitional time. That's time from getting off the toes to the bar, walking over and picking up my rope. And depending upon who you are, I wear grips, so I might get off the toes of the bar, change my grips, rotate them around, and then grab my rope. And that essentially in and of itself is 5 to 6 seconds. So if you add that up getting to the rope, and then add that up getting to the bar, there's my transitional period. That's the reason for 40 seconds for each round. Of course, I'm not sure about down here. The transitional period is obviously more because you're not gonna get on the rope and then pick up 275 within like 6 seconds. Like that obviously didn't happen. Okay? All right, so cleans, the important pacing parts, right? So cleans, if you take how many seconds are in a minute 15, right? So that's 75 seconds. And you divide it by 15, you've got yourself 1 rep every 5 seconds, okay? So for the 135, I'm going, or the 135 for men, I'm going 1 rep every 5 seconds, okay? If you take a minute 20, which is 80 seconds, and divide it by 13, you're looking at 6 seconds per rep, okay? If you take a minute 50, which is 110 seconds, and divide it by 11, you're looking at, I think it's 10 seconds? Yeah, obviously. 10 seconds per rep, okay? If you take the 305, which is 3 times 60 is 185, and divide it by 9, you're looking at approximately 20 seconds per rep. And then of course, at the very end, if you think you need 4 minutes to do 7 cleans, 315, you're looking at approximately 35 seconds per rep, right? So this is really important right here. This is important to know how much time you need for each rep. And 5 seconds when it gets to the 135 is really kind of slow. So what I would say is, yes, 5 seconds is slow. You could obviously probably do a 1 rep every 3 seconds if you wanted to. That's assuming you're doing singles. Really take the time in your singles at 135, pick it up, stand it up, drop the bar, take a deep breath. That's what I told Jake to do, was take a deep breath. If you do 1 rep plus a 1 big deep breath with the bar not on your body, okay, you've dropped the bar, that's probably about 1 rep every 5 seconds. And the same can be said for every 6 seconds for your 185 bar if you're a male. You're cleaning the bar, dropping the bar, 6 seconds. 6 seconds. This is kind of slow right here, and that's fine because you really need to make sure that you keep your heart rate low, your breathing's under control, and you're taking your time, because if you just, if you're going 1 every 3 seconds, you're just going ham, you're probably not gonna make it very far because you're gonna just redline at some point. Every 10 seconds and every 20 seconds, every 10 seconds is probably pretty spot on. Personally, I think one of the harder rounds in this workout is your 225 bar or your 3rd round. I think that's the hardest round because you might be tempted to lose a lot of time here. And like we mentioned, the 4th round, or in this case, the 2nd to last round, assuming you're gonna make it to the very end, is your money round. So this is the round where if you stick there every 20 seconds, or even if you can go a little bit faster, you'll save yourself a lot of time. Because you gotta look at the jump times, right? 150 to do 11 cleans at 225, but then 305, so almost that's an extra minute 15 to do 2 less cleans at 275. If you can keep this at less than 20 seconds, you'll save up a lot of time right here in your money round, okay? So, like I mentioned, these are the splits that I went into. These blue numbers here are the splits I tried to attain. Did I stick to them, is the real question. I fell into the rookie pitfall, guys. I fell into the rookie pitfall. Of I was faster than 245. If you've watched my Instagram, I put up my first round was approximately 215 to 220, I think. And so I went substantially faster by 20 to 30 seconds in my first round, which probably wasn't a good idea. The reason I went faster is because I didn't stick to this 5 seconds per rep. I just mentioned, make sure you breathe at the top, make sure you breathe at the top, and I didn't even do that myself. So, call me a hypocrite, that's fine. So anyways, I was a little faster here. That 20 to 30 seconds I garnered, I don't think I added any more time to it. So, even though I was faster here, I'm pretty sure this round took me 3 minutes. So I still had that 20 to 30 seconds, but I didn't go faster than this time right here. I think it's because I realized, like, Andrew was yelling at me, hey, you need to breathe, hey, you need to breathe. And I realized, okay, I'm going too fast. Yes, I got 20 to 30 seconds. Kudos to you, Jacob. But the problem is that's gonna affect me later on. So I think I was 3 minutes on spot here. I was pretty much on par 3 minutes. For my 330 for this round, or my cumulative time of 9:15, I think I finished that around like 8:45 or so. So it was still, pretty much I still saved my 20, 30 seconds and I still stuck to this pace. For my money round, or my 4th round of 275, I went faster than 20 seconds because I realized that this was the important round. I honestly haven't looked at my actual splits for like how much rest I take between reps. I can probably get that to you guys later, but I was faster than 445, but not much faster. I might have been like 430, maybe 425. So I added, by the time I got done with this round, I had an extra 30 seconds from here, or at this time probably 25 seconds, plus another 25 seconds from here. So I had an extra minute of wiggle room when it came to my 315, which is important, like I mentioned, because I saved time in my money round. Maybe I shouldn't have gone so fast here, but in the end, it didn't turn out too terribly. I had an extra minute at 315, which was important. in an effort to finish the workout was important to use for it. So yeah, so that's my paces. So really guys, that's pretty much it. That is 19.2. I hope that's helpful. This black does not come off the board, it's terrible. I hope that's helpful. Again, I'll make sure to get this posted up today. Right now it's Saturday morning at like 8, so you guys are welcome. It's 8 in the morning I'm doing this. If you guys, I'll make sure to get it posted up later today. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put it in the comments, and I'll make sure to get back to you as fast as I can. You guys obviously have the rest of today, all of Sunday, and then depending upon what time zone you're in, for us at least, all of Monday. So you'll have pretty much 2.5 to 3 full days to get this done. I'm gonna try and do these videos for every open workout, but there's no promises. Honestly, it takes a lot of time for me to come in here, make sure the barn's warm. I mean, it's cold in Kansas. And then come in here and write this up, and then I have to go edit it, and then I have to upload it, and to me, it takes a couple hours. So my real question is it worth my time? And sometimes it's not, sometimes it is. In this case, it was, so I can get it done. I'm not sure if I can do 19.3, 19.4, 19.5. I will try, but there are no promises. Hopefully this helped. Go out there and crush it. Go out there and smash your old score if you did in 2016, or if you're gonna redo it, smash your redo score. So, good luck. Go get it. See you guys.